During such a divisive political climate and a calling to get even more young people involved, Hamilton High School is making sure students have every opportunity. In Kiah Nisly's AP Government class, students are getting the chance to speak with lawmakers themselves and ask the questions that are on their minds.
Living in a small place in Montana, we kind of get overlooked when it comes to politics and diversity in our different ideas. So it was nice to actually give the kids some access to an elected official and hear what they would have to say, because so often they feel so removed. They get one vote, right, for a member of the Senate this last election. And so just giving them the opportunity to get feedback from these individuals and actually practice some of the ideas that we've talked about all year, some of the powers of Congress and the powers of the Senate, and having a transition into a new president. So it's nice that they're paying attention and they're listening, and that they're going to apply it when they actually get to talk to a politician.
This time it was Senator Steve Daines making an appearance, setting aside time for a Zoom meeting with our Bronx, who didn't hold back with sharp, thoughtful, and well-prepared questions.
So recently Ted Cruz proposed for Congress to push a constitutional amendment to enact term limits for members of Congress. My first question is, how do you feel term limits would affect our democracy? And then secondly, do you think his proposal has enough weight to be pushed through?
Yeah, so I support term limits. And I think what Ted had there was two Senate terms and 3 House terms, I believe was he had. So it'd be 12 years in the Senate and 6 years in the House. If I could wave a magic wand, I'd probably tweak it and say 10 years in the House. So you have 12 years in the Senate, 10 years in the House, because you want to give enough time for somebody to come into the job, to learn the job, to be able to chair a committee, make a difference, make an impact, and then go back home. And I think 6 years is not enough time in the House, in my own opinion. I served 1 term in the House. So that would be 10 years in the House, 12 years in the Senate. I think that's enough. I really do.
Do you think that moving towards renewable energy is a better strategy than supporting fossil fuels and the Keystone Pipeline?
Great question, very relevant, because 6 hours after Joe Biden became president of the United States, he killed the Keystone XL pipeline. What I'm concerned about is that the Green New Deal and a radical shift away from conventional energy sources is going to hurt America. When you think about oil and natural gas, none of you were born or remember what happened back in the 1970s when we were at the mercies of the Middle East with oil and what impact that has on our economy. You realize that interest rates as a result of oil prices skyrocketing, a 30-year fixed mortgage got up to 18% for an interest rate. I mean, right now you can go get a 30-year fixed mortgage for a house for under 3%. It was 18%. What that means, instead of having a $1,500 a month mortgage, you have a $5,000 a month mortgage. So this all ties together on keeping energy prices low and reliable. So I'm very concerned that we're moving away from a balanced portfolio in energy and moving to a pure renewable form. I'm not opposed to renewables. I think it's exciting to see what's happening in areas of wind, in solar, even with biomass, geothermal. But you can't move away from what we've got right now, which is your hydro, your oil, your gas, and your coal, which provides the majority of Montana's electricity, as well as what fuels our transportation and does so much for our economy. So we need balance here. And what President Biden is doing is, to me, is radical of stopping the Keystone Pipeline. By the way, the Keystone Pipeline is carbon neutral. Carbon neutral. It's the most environmentally sound way to transport a liquid.
I wanted to know how factual the claims are that you're China's cheerleader.
China's cheerleader. There was about $100 million spent attacking me on that from Chuck Schumer and the Democrats. And Montanans saw through that. I'm very thankful that we were able to win our re-election by 10 points against Governor Bullock. But that's false. I've been very outspoken and direct in confronting China and the challenges they face. And there were just a lot of lies told during the campaign, and I appreciate the chance to respond to it, but it's false. And if you talk to our Montana ranchers, they're very thankful that I took on China. And they had banned U.S. beef imports into China for 13 years. And I confronted the Chinese government on that and said, this is not fair, it's not right. I want to be able to export Montana beef and U.S. beef into China. And they removed that ban. So I'd hardly call that a cheerleader. I call that somebody looking out and fighting for the interests of Montanans in America. And we got the Chinese to change. And now we're shipping U.S. beef into China.
And the students say they in turn appreciate the time Senator Daines took to speak with them, even if they didn't always share the same views.
I thought he was super respectful towards everyone in our class and addressed their names when he asked questions, and our class of course asked great questions, which he answered well too.
I think it makes it more personal. It lets the students kind of know that that is their real opinion and they're not just doing it to get votes and get voted back in. Like, he really stood by his beliefs and didn't waver at all.
Nisly says she is always impressed with the HHS students that walk through her classroom doors and hopes more Broncs will sign up for the class.
I just would encourage any kid to take an advanced government class. I think it is a very important class to take in high school. The regular government class is fantastic, but I think that kids sell themselves short thinking that they can't take AP classes because it might be difficult or it might be boring. And I really feel like you can get so much out of this class and really think in depth about how you can participate in our political system.
This whole class has definitely made me want to get more involved in politics, and I've learned a lot more about politics in general and become more solid in my own political beliefs because of the class, so that's definitely been helpful.
Hats off to you, Mrs. Nisly, for doing that, and to the students here who are paying attention to every word Mrs. Nisly says.
Senator Daines was the second U.S. congressman to visit the class. Representative Kelly Armstrong from North Dakota spoke earlier this year. Next on the class list is Senator Jon Tester, who no doubt will be quite impressed by these outstanding Broncs.